The Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.
Hey, welcome to the Captain's Log Radio. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss, and with me today, a man who consistently puts incredible, tasting, beautiful fish over the gunnel. That's Captain Chris Lemeuix with Lemeuix Charters. My man, what is going on, dude? How are you?
Cap, good man. Living the dream, buddy. Living the dream. Fishing a bunch, can't complain. Business has been good lately. Been on the water a lot. The weather's
Awesome.
trying to hold us down a little bit, but we've been punching it anyways.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Well, I tell you, with the boat that you're running, it's one of my favorite boats, a 27 conch. That boat has such capabilities. Most of the time you're running out of the Boyton Inlet, which can be a ferocious inlet. But one of the benefits of where you live, and I want to dive deeper into that, is, man, the few times we've gone fishing, I have been able to see what people are having for lunch while we are catching fish. It is the coolest, craziest thing about how quickly the water levels drop, the depth drops there on your part of the coast. So let's dive in. Let's tell everyone where exactly you are based out of. What kind of fishing charters do you offer?
All right. I'm based out of Boyton Beach, Florida. Born and raised Boynton guy. Been fishing there my entire life. Started out working 13, 14 years old. A neighbor of mine owned a tackle shop. He goes, hey, I was obsessed with fishing since day one. Like every kid, little dock rat running around the local docks there. And my neighbor owned the tackle shop. He's like, hey, I need somebody after, part-time here and there. And so I started working in the local tackle shop, 14 years old, just, dipping shrimp for people, shiners, selling tackle. All the captains came in. Everybody's like teaching me stuff, learning how to wrap wire, make, rig ballyhoo, rig squid, all that stuff. And a couple of years of working there after school and on the weekends, a couple of the charter captains are like, hey, if you ever want to jump on a boat and, come see what it's about, we need, always looking for mates. So took that opportunity and started jumping on a couple local boats out of, where the Two Georges restaurant is. A lot of people know the Two Georges banana boat area and Boynton Beach and all those docks down there, and started jumping on boats. And that was kind of the beginning of the whole deal. Since I was 15, I started working on charter boats, and I just turned 41 and still doing it. So getting salty.
Heck yeah,
But
dude. Love it.
yeah, yep.
Now, did you ever, as a kid, get seasick, or have you always just been solid?
Never got seasick a day in my life. I feel for people that get seasick. Obviously, they get seasick on my boat on a regular basis.
Yeah.
We don't, I don't like throwing up, so I can imagine it doesn't feel good. But I couldn't tell you what it feels like. I just feel bad for people. But yeah, since day one, never gotten sick. Never, it never affected me. I mean, we were out
Yeah.
in 6 foot seas all weekend, and just another day on the water. I mean, now that I'm 40, I get a little sore waking up the next morning compared to when I was a kid. But other than that, yeah, it's just never affected me. We just send it.
That's a gift,
Yeah.
man. Some people get really sick. Some people, like my camera crew guys, it doesn't matter. Nothing affects them, and it's like that's awesome.
Yeah.
I will get. I'll take stuff. I don't want to throw up. I want to.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm gonna go out there and go have fun. So
Nobody.
I
Yeah.
risk it, man. I'm gonna take some Dramamine and be good, not worry about it, man.
Yeah.
That's just
Exactly.
how I did it as a kid. Forever going
Yeah.
offshore, you just took Dramamine, you never thought about it.
Yeah.
So that's just how I roll. Growing up, the offshore fishing I did was strictly bottom fishing, porgies, grunts, yellowtail snapper, red grouper. Those were always our focus, and it was always out of Southwest Florida. We had a family friend, and we'd always go down there and go offshore fishing with him. And we did it all the time, but we never did the style of fishing that you do, in the sense that, like, I never caught a Mahi. I never saw sails. I never saw tuna. That wasn't our focus ever,
Hmm.
ever.
Yeah.
And so when I got the chance to meet you and we got connected through Danco, the first Mahi I ever caught was with you. the first swordfish I ever caught was with you, and we'll talk more about those later.
Yeah.
But just the fish the first wahoo I've ever caught was with you. There's so many things that you get to see on a regular basis, fish that are absolutely beautiful.
Hmm.
And the water, beautiful. So I absolutely love it, man. I love what you do. Uh, you don't run with your charters. You mainly staying pretty close, or you going, sometimes you go deep dropping?
Yeah, we're very very fortunate in Boynton Beach. So Boynton Beach, South Palm Beach County, is considered the Gulf gateway to the Gulf Stream. And we're the one place in the entire eastern seaboard of the United States that the Gulf Stream comes the closest to. So on any given day, the Gulf Stream could be a mile off of our beach. I mean, I've caught sailfish in 20 feet of water, which 20 feet of water for us is 300 yards off the beach, and I've been bait fishing and caught sailfish in that short distance off the beach. So it's truly unbelievable the fishery we have. Everything we have is basically migratory. There isn't too many fish that are local. We don't have local fish. Occasionally, I think there's local sailfish here and there, um, and the occasional, but most everything we catch is seasonal and migrational. So we have, everything's people want to catch sailfish. I'm like, all right, come, in the winter months. You want to catch mahi, come in the late summer. You want to catch, tunas and big kings, you come right now in the spring. So everything's here and gone. They're just we just kind of have to take advantage of what's passing through at the time. I do light tackle, uh, basically live bait fishing. So light tackle kite fishing. Kite fishing's my main thing. We do a lot of that. Obviously, if the conditions are right, we do troll and stuff for wahoo when we have to. But the live bait thing is my passion for sure. It's what I love. I love bombing the net first thing in the morning, blacking out a couple live wells, having two live wells full of pilchards or sardines or whatever we can get for the day, and go live chum and have a handful of goggle eyes on the boat and, pop the kite out, pipe, one kite or two kites, and just send it. And it's a blast, man. It doesn't get much more fun. You can chum the fish up almost feeding out of your hand right at the boat, when you're live chumming. So it's pretty cool. You've seen that before.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't get much more fun than that.
Oh man, I absolutely love that. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about the days we've had out on the water, and throwing live baits. And we did a little trolling. We've done some trolling for mahi, and then get the mahi fired up. And I want to talk more about that in a little bit. But I've seen it firsthand, and it is. I think every episode we've done with you, we have named it something like mayhem, or like some kind of adjective for crazy, because
Yeah,
it's always that. It's
yeah,
chaotic, it's chaos, it's
yeah.
controlled chaos. And
Controlled
it's
chaos.
it's
Yeah,
so much fun. So much fun. I want to talk more about episodes, another segment. Because we got a lot to talk about with that. But before we get to that, summertime is coming, and you do something that I find very special. I find it very unique, something you don't see a lot of. And you offer a summer camp for kids. Are you
I
still
do.
doing that?
I am. I didn't do it last year. I was really busy last year. Um, so I ended up not doing it last year, but I've done it for the past 5 years, and we're going to plan on getting a couple weeks this year. And it's really
Cool.
cool. We get a full week with the kids. We have, usually do 2 weeks during the summer. And it's seriously my two favorite weeks out of the year. Kids are easy to please. Every adult, you deal with it with chartering. Unfortunately, people like they expect to catch a world record just because you're a guide, and I say, hey, I'm a guide, not God, all the time. You know, I try my best, but I can't do it, and it always works out that the kids to have you don't have any pressure with them, uh, and we just go out and we crush. I mean, last year we had the camp. We had one day we anchored up for muttons, and we caught every kid caught a mutton snapper over 10 pounds. One kid caught one that was 17 pounds. Another day we went live bait, live chumming, and we were just catching
Oh,
tunas and bonitas, and ended up catching an 88-pound wahoo. Um, just amazing stuff that happens with the kids, and I love it because they're fine catching a blue runner, or they're fine going bait fishing basically and having a blast, or catching a 1 pound mangrove snapper, but they don't put any pressure on it. Whatever happens, happens. And incredible things have happened with the kids on the boat. They've all caught their personal best snook. They all caught their, because we do an inshore day out of the week. So, we've caught big jacks and snook, and we've hooked a handful of tarpon. So a lot of these kids never caught any of that. And they're catching their first tarpon, their first snook. We're going offshore. They're catching 88-pound wahoo, which I told the boys after we caught that, I'm like, I'm just warning you now, it's going to take you a lifetime to catch another 88-pound wahoo. So it's a pretty cool thing we do. Like I said, um, you know, my mate's a young guy, so he comes and he kind of relates with the kids also. So it's a really, really fun time. Uh, the kids learn a bunch. We do knot tying some lessons. We go to the sandbar. We'll throw the cast net. I'll bring like a little 6 or 8 foot cast net and have the boys throw a cast net. Um, and they love it. And they love it. They're just easy going, and it's a blast. It ends up being a blast. So,
That is
and
that is awesome, man.
yeah.
You are my friend Captain Stephen Fluke up in South Carolina does a thing where fishing for fathers, and basically he is connecting with single moms who they want to get their kids outdoors, and so he
Hmm.
takes them on a free fishing trip. And I think that is so awesome. You're able to teach a kid a skill and a lesson they can then develop and grow and do so much with that. And you're doing the same thing. You're taking these guys, these boys fishing, you're training them, you're teaching them, and you're lighting a fire. You're helping them fall in love with the sport that we care so much about. And I do, that's awesome. I absolutely love that. I commend you for it. Kudos, bro. There needs to be
Thanks,
more
man.
people doing stuff like that, myself included. I think about if all of us charter captains took a week out of our year to just invest into kids in fishing, man, watch out, boy. There are going to be
Yeah.
so many new anglers, new generation of anglers. Is absolutely, that'd be absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
No,
listen,
they
this
love it.
this first segment is quickly coming to a break. When we get back, more with Captain Chris Lemieux with Lemeuix Charters down in Boyton Beach, Florida. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss. This is the Captain's Log Radio right here on the Outdoor Radio Network. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
This is the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.
Hey, welcome back to the Captain's Log Radio. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss, and with me today I've got Captain Chris Lemieux from Lemeuix Charters down in Boyton Beach, Florida, Southeast Florida. But before we continue with Chris, I want to invite you to connect with me on social media at the Captain's Log TV on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Again, you can go to YouTube and watch all of our full-length episodes. We got 60 episodes, 6 full seasons there on YouTube, as well as Waypoint TV, which is a free app you can download on any device. But again, let's connect on the socials at the Captain's Log TV on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Chris, let's talk about these episodes. Well, before we get to that, we'll transition to that first time we went fishing. Craig McMicken, good friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, he connected us through Danco, and he called me and said, Jonathan, I'm going fishing with Chris Lemieux. And I said, yes. He didn't even ask me if I wanted to go. I just said, yes, I want to do that. Tell me when, I'll drop everything. And so the idea was for us to go out and to collect some content, catch some fish, and then use that content for social media for Danco. And we went out and I think we were closer to the Bahamas than we were Florida. And on our way out, we caught a couple mahi, which were my first mahi. They weren't big mahi, but they were mahi. First time I ever caught a Maui, as Mr. Chris Lemieux says. Dorado, depending on where you are, dolphin fish. But mahi is what we call them. That's what I call them. And we caught my first one ever with you. keep going out, and we get to 1,800 feet of water. I don't know where we are. All I know is it's deep. The deepest water at this point in my life I had ever fished in. And we dropped, and I could be wrong with some of these details. So if I'm wrong, just tell me. I want to say we had a 10-pound lead to
Yep.
get that bait
Correct.
down to the bottom. And you threw that thing in. We had a line counter, and you said, Jonathan, watch this line counter on this electric reel. And you put the boat in gear, and the line counter is going crazy. It's dropping. That bait's dropping with that 10-pound lead. And the line is horizontal. And then when we get to that amount of line that we want out to the depth we're fishing, you turn the boat around, you draw back towards the line, and eventually that line became vertical. And it was like I want to call it like a bump troll, where you were just kind of trying to keep us in that same spot with
Hmm.
that line vertical. And we're using a freaking broom handle for a fishing rod. And I'm staring at this thing, and you're staring at this thing. Craig's staring, they're all staring at this thing. And it barely twitched. And you lost your freaking mind, bro. You're like, bro, we got to bite. I'm like, I didn't see it do anything. You're like, no, we got to bite. And sure enough, bro, you were right. I couldn't believe it. When we flipped the switch on the electric reel and I hit the button, and all of a sudden that rod starts loading up, and you hear that reel get okay, and you knew there's a fish on there. And
Hmm.
the three of us, got that fish to the boat. You guys, did you throw a harpoon on it or a gaff?
Probably. Yeah, we do that. This is our little insurance policy on it, just in
Yeah,
case you pull the hook close after if he makes another run. So, I mean, I've caught a one or two since then, but I'm pretty sure I probably threw a harpoon.
yeah.
That's kind of
I
like
want to say you
the
did.
program. Yeah.
But we got this fish in the boat. For Craig and I, that was our first experience with a swordfish, my first billfish ever. And I listen, I've seen other people do it, so I don't think you were lying to me. But when we got to the dock, me and Craig had to do something that was pretty fun. Do you remember what we did?
Oh yeah.
Tell
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
tell me.
Eat the eyeball.
We ate the eyeball.
Yeah.
And so we each grabbed an eyeball, and we down the hatch, and that was a moment, man. And we were able to, you work at the firehouse, and you took a lot of that meat to those guys. We're able to feed people. I was able to feed my family, fed your family. Craig fed his family.
Oh,
Plus, we were
yeah.
able to feed a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
I love that. It's one of my favorite things about offshore is bringing home fish to feed our family. But you took that bill and you threw it in your bait pen. I think you threw it in your bait pen,
Yep.
and you let the bait eat all of the meat off of that bill. And here it is. And you painted it black for me, and I gave it to my sister-in-law who painted the scene. And just
That's
what a
pretty cool.
moment, man. What a moment. I'll never forget that. But
Listen, I'll tell you what, you have good memory. I could tell people 100 times how to drop for a swordfish bait, and you remembered from one time. That's impressive. That's how you know you're a true fisherman right there.
well, I don't remember a lot of things, but I've learned a lot from you. Now, I can't tell you, I couldn't go out there and do it myself from after only doing it one time, but I've learned a lot from you from offshore. One of the things we did on the first time we went fishing, filming, season one, actually, which is crazy. That was 5 years ago.
Hmm.
We did an offshore episode and we called it Mahi Mayhem, I think, or Mahi Madness or something crazy.
Hmm.
We had 9 rods. I brought 9 rods. I think you had a couple of rods, but I think 9 in total and a
Hmm.
fly rod. Okay. And you're smirking because you already know what I'm gonna say. We
Oh
got
yeah.
we got the first Mahi to the boat. And when you get your first Mahi to the boat, and you talked about live chun, you get that rod in the rod holder, that fish is going bananas right there at the back of the boat of the transom, and you get a handful of baits and you sling them baits out, and the whole school came to us. And literally every rod we had a mahi on it. You were screaming and laughing and, oh, I got a rod. And I'm at the front, like, I'm going to catch one on a fly rod. I have to. But you're using like an 8-foot spinning rod and you're like slinging these things into the boat. I hook one with an 8 weight. I get it to the boat. I'm like, if I sling this thing in the boat, I'm going to shatter this rod.
Yeah.
It was nuts, man. And we have filmed a second time since then. And you're like, I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough day. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm going fishing with Captain Chris Lemieux. It's never a tough day when we go fishing,
They
bro.
just get lucky. We get lucky.
Well, this last
Yes.
episode, we got lucky on a few things, man. We caught bonita. I caught a bonita on fly. We caught a
Yeah.
blackfin tuna, which was delicious. I had got home that night and I made poke bowls with the wife. I mean, I told her, I was like, listen, you get everything else ready, and I'm gonna have the tuna ready to go when we get to the house.
That.
We caught Mahi. We caught a Wahoo. We caught a triple tail. I mean, it was just everything you can imagine. Kingfish, everything you can imagine to catch out in your area, we caught it. It was unbelievable. Tell me, what do you think outside of time on the water? What do you think the secret to success out in the ocean is?
Oh man, I don't know. Paying attention. Um, just remember every little thing that happened when you caught fish. Like I'll go back, I'll look at the water. I'm like, oh, I caught fish here on this certain day, or hey, this current at this mile an hour. Or, I feel like people go out there and don't pay attention enough. Put your phone down. Uh, Pay attention to the watercolor. Pay attention to the current. Pay attention to the bait. Pay attention to birds. I mean, it takes one bird sometime that's this big to be dipping and diving, and it can change your entire day. So just go out there and be one with nature, basically. Just like when you're redfishing, pulling around, you know what I mean? You get around a point, you're like, ah, man, I never caught them on a southwest wind, but it's an east wind today, and I always catch them on an east wind here, right? It's just the little things that make the difference every day, and you put that all together, and you just hopefully they all come together and get lucky sometime.
Yeah,
That's basically what it comes down to is, it's time on the water, right? You don't get that overnight, but it's time on the water, um, from being out there, but just paying attention a lot. A lot of it's just paying attention.
well, you said a few things. Not only paying attention, but you're writing things down. You're remembering what exactly you were doing with certain conditions. I mean, the name of the show is the Captain's Log, and the whole point of that is write down what you caught.
That's it.
If you want to do it digitally, you can go to the FishBrain app and you can do it on the FishBrain app for free. You can put it in your notes on your iPhone, or if you have an
Hmm.
Android, I'm sure Android has something similar where you can put it in a note
Hmm.
section. You can go old school and get a piece of paper and a pen. My dad says the dullest ink is still stronger than the worst memory, right?
100%.
So go out there and write it down so that you can follow up and say, hey, what the conditions were like this last year, this time. What did I do? What made me successful?
Hmm.
That is a big, big part of it. I think fishing uses all of our senses.
For
You
sure.
know, you've got to
Yeah.
be listening. You've got to be looking. You've got to be really paying attention, you
Yeah.
know? And if all those things add up, you get to taste, you get to smell, you get to
Yeah.
experience the fish as well, you know?
Yeah.
So I,
To me, it's just like hunting. A lot of guys that are very good fishermen are very good hunters as well because you're just paying attention to the little things. And I hunt, and it's the same thing, right? You notice this and this wind and that time, and it's the same exact thing. For the guys that hunt, and fishing's the same way. It's not just about going there and putting a line; it's just paying attention to the little details, and those all together, and with the right bait and tackle and everything else in this situation, you're gonna get them.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You mentioned light tackle. We're approaching our last final minute of this segment. How light a tackle do you like to go out there with? Or you thinking like
So,
redfish stuff, or you want to go a little heavier than that?
So we go a little heavier than that. I mean, with charter fishing, you don't have people that are the best anglers all the time. So we go a little heavier. But we do fish down to 15-pound line, main line, which a lot of the charter boats are fishing, 20, 30 and 40-pound main line. They're just horsing them in. But we like to be we're fishing for all our kite fishing stuff for sailfish. We fish strictly 20-pound mainline,
Mm.
20-pound mono. People are like, "Are you guys nuts?" And we look, those boys caught that 88-pound wahoo. I mean, we had young kids that were, you know, 10, 12 years old catching 88-pound wahoo on 20-pound mainline.
Love
It's just
that.
about using the right drag. It's about, putting the right heat when you need to and backing off when you need to. When they take off, you let them, unfortunately, we have a shark problem around here that's become a little bit more, difficult to use light on tackle, but we figure it out. We have big fish eating occasionally here, but the light tackle thing's huge. People don't think your main line makes a big difference on the bite, but for us it does. You're fishing lighter main line makes your bait swim better, your live bait
Awesome.
swim more natural and all that. So
Well, hey, when we get back, more with Captain Chris Lemeuix here on the Captain's Log Radio.
This is the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.
Hey, welcome back to the Captain's Log Radio. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss. Today I've got Captain Chris Lemeuix from Lemeuix Charters down in Boyton Beach, Florida, southeast section of the United States. Dude, let's talk about current fishing conditions. You mentioned earlier wintertime sail fishing, and I feel like every time a cold front comes through, you send me a text, bro, let's do some sails. Let's focus on that and then transition into now rod and reel size. Let's get technical. What kind of gear are we using to catch those sails and then going into springtime?
so on our spinning rods, we use like an 8,000 or 10,000 with like a 15 to 20-pound blank spinning rod, 20-pound main line. We don't fish a lot of braid for the sailfish and the mahis with as fast as they pull and hard as they jump. We seem like we pull a lot of hooks with the braid because there's no stretch.
Mhm.
So we stick with the mono.
So
Um,
it's nothing to
so
do with the clarity or the water and the mono
no,
being clear and everything to do with stretch.
everything we do is stretch. Yep. These
Mhm.
fish, I mean, a sailfish swims 60 miles an hour. So, I mean, one
Yeah.
minute they'll be here, the next minute they're jumping, 100 yards off the bow. You're like, how the heck did you get there so fast? And you think it's a different fish, but it's not. So, all the belly in the line, it just makes it easier. It seems like over the years, different things, we don't pull off as many fish with that setup of spinning rod. So, same thing as the kite. We fish conventional reels, 40 or 50, like I fished Iowas. There's, like the Shimano 20s or something like that would be comparable. But our main thing with fishing these size reels is line capacity, right? It's not like when you hook a single, but like yesterday we caught a triple of sailfish. And unfortunately, they never cooperate. One went east, one went west, and one went wherever I wanted to. And we had one at one point stretched out over 300 yards. So all of our reels we fish braid backing. So we'll put like 300 yards of like 20-pound braid backing and then
Mm.
top shot it with another 200 or 300 yards of mono. So we're fishing on our,
Wow.
our normal spinning reels. We'll have up to 500 yards on a spinning reel. And people are like, well, what do you need that much line? I'm like, it's not that you always have a fish that does that, but if you hook multiples or a quad and they all go in different directions, I can be like, hey, back yours off, and I'm not worried about it. The only thing you worry about at that point is your fish getting run over by another boat. Hopefully everybody's aware of the situation and they see you backing around doing circles, and you can get on the
Yeah.
radio and be like, hey, I have a quad on, can you make a move? And most guys are pretty cool about it. Some people are not. Some people are just, like I said, don't pay attention to where they're at or what
Yeah.
they're doing, so they're just not aware of the situation. We get fish run over occasionally, but same thing on the conventional reels. We fish 200-300 yards of braid backing, 20 or 30-pound test, and then fish a top shot of mono. And same thing, we fish light rods and 15 to 30-pound blank on the conventionals. Um, and that's basically all we fish. So light
Is there a
tackle for us.
Is there a
What's
particular
that?
brand? Is there a particular brand you like on the mono? Are you just going to Walmart and buying like the cheat
No,
stuff, like
no.
500 yards pool? Was
I'm a
there
Suffix. I'm a Suffix guy. I fished it for years.
suffix
Haven't
makes
had.
mono?
Yeah,
I didn't
Suffix
know
makes
that.
really good mono. Yep, there's Suffix Superior. Very good abrasion resistance. It lasts a long time with charters. We sometimes fish will cross each other and wrap up the sailfish crossing.
Hmm.
And we don't break a lot of fish off with it. It's very, very resilient with, you know, wrapping and getting rubbing on the boat and everything else. So
Hmm. Are you using
I've
high vis or clear?
I use smoke blue. I feel like it disappears in our water the best.
Hmm.
I feel like clear kind of shows like a little shiny. Definitely no high vis. I'm an anti high vis guy
Okay.
for what we do, and but smoke blue is my favorite out of
Huh.
the Suffolk Superior. So been using it for years. I'm probably 15 plus years using it, and then it's one of those things you get comfortable with the line and you've had good luck with it. I'm not switching back. So.
Yeah.
Um,
Understood.
Yep, yep. And rods,
Good
I've
intel.
been reels. Just been using Daiwa for a long time. They've been really good to me. The old school BGs that they were fishing back in the '90s when I was a kid, they revamped and we're fishing BGMQs now. Um, Super bulletproof for me. And like I said, we have customers all the time. We have range from somebody that's a professional fisherman up north to somebody that's never been on a boat before. So. Um, they've been withstanding the time and the abuse of day in and day out. So,
Cool.
but yeah,
No, man, that's great, great intel. Let's transition from wintertime sales over to now springtime. What are you focused on now, and what are we using for gear? What is there a specific bait that's pretty prevalent right now?
so yeah, we're this time of year. I get asked year long by all my customers. They're like, "Hey, what's your favorite time to fish?" And all the snowbirds ask me, "When's your favorite time to fish?" I'm like, "You leave right around Easter?" They're like, "Yeah, yeah, right at Easter, beginning of May." I'm like, "That's when it gets really good." They're like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yep, every year." Springtime's my favorite in South Florida. Our bait shows back up. We start getting pilchards to show back up, which is my game. Go net bunch of bait. Uh, we just fished a tournament over the weekend and we caught 8 nice blackfin tuna. So they're showing up some big kings. We caught a king on Friday that was 30, just pushing 30 pounds.
Hmm.
So this is my favorite time of year. We could drift on the reef. We still catch sailfish. Yesterday we were 3 for 3 on sailfish. Caught a mahi, a tuna. You catch a little bit of everything, and they're nice sized fish. Like the tunas are 15 to 30 pound range. Still catching some sailfish from the winter run. Um, so this is my favorite time of year because you get a little bit of call it dinner and a show. You're still catching some nice meat fish, but you're still getting that show. You catch a couple sailfish in the mix of everything, so it's a blast. It's a blast, and then transitioning to the summer, it'll get a little bit of a lull, but our snapper fishing gets really good. We catch a lot of big, nice mutton snappers, yellowtail snapper, and then a little later in the summer, we start catching some really, really nice mahi offshore. Nothing
Hmm.
huge, but there's a lot of them. So, big schools you've seen before pull
Yeah.
up. There'll be sometimes be 50 or 100 fish in a school, and you can get your limit real quick. So you just have to look for the school bigger fish and just move around and it's fishing. You can't make it happen, but you can definitely try your hardest and go out there and look and put yourself in that position, and it works out
No,
sometimes.
heck yeah, man.
you know.
What type of tuna are you catching right now?
We catch blackfin tunas. It was actually very cool this past weekend. A lot of my buddies fishing the final sale tournament. There's been a lot of big bluefin tunas passing through our area.
Hmm.
I mean, giant 3, 4, 500 pound bluefin tuna. A lot of these guys were getting bites on the kites the past few days. I didn't get any bites on it, but a lot of guys further down south, like Lauderdale, Miami, get multiple bites on bluefin tunas in the 4, 500 pound range. So that's pretty
Goodness
cool to see that
gracious.
those. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see those stocks coming through, bouncing back a little bit. That means obviously we're doing something right as conservation wise. So
Well,
pretty
you
cool.
had I, you see these videos bouncing around of these giant tunas jumping, getting airborne,
Yeah,
feeding on baits on the surface. Man, I can't imagine hooking into a fish like that. I mean,
Yeah.
the power of those fish.
Oh yeah.
They eat, and then you see them like they're eating baits right by the boat, and they're like torpedoes, and they're so agile, even for their size. They are just an incredible, incredible fish.
They are. Yeah. And I mean, unfortunately, the tackle that we're fishing here, we're fishing, like I said, 20-pound mainline for a sailfish with 30 or 40-pound leader. I mean, you're getting the bite and you're getting smoked 2 seconds. You're not stopping a 400 or 500 pound
Yeah.
fish, right?
No.
It's like throwing a pebble at an elephant and you're
Yeah.
expecting him to twitch. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, right, okay, buddy, not gonna happen. So,
One thing
uh,
about those
yeah.
sails, though, one thing I loved about the sails that I've caught, and I didn't know this until obviously we caught the first one. Their sail, the only way I can describe it is like a liquid velvet.
Hmm.
When I touched that sail for the first time, first off, the colors of sailfish, the deep purples, the black spots, the dark, dark blues,
Hmm.
the blacks on their bag. Oh my, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then I got my hand on that fish and I touched the sail, and it was just the softest. I didn't expect it to be what it was, and it was unbelievable. I mean, the only thing I can say to describe it was like a liquid velvet. It was just it flowed. It was unbelievable. And when I experienced that for the first time, I was like, I want to catch one of these
Hmm.
fish.
Oh yeah.
I want to I want to I want to feel that fish again. And it just was just incredible. And the next one I catch, and I know, hey, there she is.
There
I
he
know
is, the future.
there's the future. I know you said there's a lot of sharks. For those who are just listening on the radio and not watching, his daughter just walked into his arms, and she is or he is holding her. Um, I know there is a lot of sharks in your area, but
Hmm.
I want to jump in the water with the sail after, with for the release
Yeah.
and swim with that fish for just a minute. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I have. I've actually seen them when I used to dive in my younger years. Coming up on my safety stop, you have seen a few, and pretty cool to see. They're just so majestic in the water. They're so just fluent. You could just tell they're meant to be there. You know, that's
Yeah.
their home. You know, they're so cool. I mean, just to see their pec fins and their dorsal fin just tuck into their body, and you don't even know it's there, and it just folds right into their whole body. They're just like a perfect designed creature for speed and for agility and everything else. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. I haven't caught enough yet, and I'm very much looking forward to getting back out there and catching another sailfish. They are just unbelievable fish, the fastest fish in the ocean.
yeah,
Uh, they jump, they scream drag. They're just unbelievable fish. And then I'll have to call my friends over at New Wave, the Kirkhart family, and be like, all right, I need one. I need one for my wall because they're so incredibly awesome.
yeah.
Don't go anywhere. We got one more segment right here on the Outdoor Radio Network.
This is the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.
Hey, welcome back to the Captain's Log Radio. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss, and today we've got Captain Chris Lemeuix. Chris is an outstanding charter guide down in Boyton Beach, fishing offshore. You know, Chris, when I did an offshore episode in Alabama, and I messed up. I should have taken a fly rod. And it was that moment because I'd gone fishing with you offshore several times and brought fly rods and caught fish on fly, bonita, mahi. triple tail, all with you. Um, and I didn't take one on that episode. And we came across like the mega load of triple tail. We found a 40 by 20 blue tart, I don't know, 40, 50 miles out in the ocean. And there must have been 500 triple tail on this thing.
Wow,
And a
that's
whole
cool.
bunch of like chubs or other bait fish, but tons triple tail. And of course, I didn't have a fly rod with me, and I was quickly regretting that decision to leave it in the truck. So I'll never go offshore without a fly rod again. But the variety of fish that you can catch in your area on spin gear and then follow up with a fly rod is absolutely incredible. And a lot that has to do with how you have your boat set up. You have a 27 conch. Tell me about this boat. When did you get this boat? How do you have it set up for families and for charter people, for anglers of all experiences?
Yeah, so I've had my boat for about 17 years now. My boat's a 1994. She's an OG original Eddie and Duff built Conch 27. Um, Grew up watching Jose Wahebe, throwing his cast net off the bow of the thing with the shroud and the whole deal, and always loved the boat. Looked cool, giant live wells, and I was like, "Well, it's a cool boat. I'd love to have one day." Well, then I went on one and rode on one, and I was like, "Well, they don't only look cool and are functional, they ride unbelievable." So I was like, I was on a mission when I was younger and saved up some money to find one, and found one down in the Keys, in Big Pine Key. It was originally built by Robbie Delft Brothers down there in Key West. Then sold it to Captain Jim Sharp, who did charters and stuff down in Big Pine, and bought it from him. Just like every boat that at the time it was older, needed work and love and this and that. Had the boat. I mean, ever since I've owned it, gas tanks go bad. The boat's 30 years old, so had to put new gas tanks in it. Have rewired it myself, repainted it myself. Put a lot of sweat equity and sweat, hard work into it. But it's a great fishing platform. Big coffin box in the front. I mean, we fit our whole swordfish in there. Give them a little trim on the nose and put a whole swordfish in the front box. Front live wells 80 gallons, back live wells almost 100 gallons.
Hmm.
So we don't have anything that holds us back. We could black out every live well. We could carry thousands of live bait. Um, the boat just fishes great, drifts great, doesn't rock you to death, rides great, very, very dry. Um, you know, they're a very sought after boat and very popular for a reason. They're just not cool to look at. They just ride unbelievable. And if you're a true fisherman, I mean, a conch is the boat to have. And I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. Even if I won the lottery, I would just put more money into it and keep it as a bait boat or something. I don't know, but
Love it, dude.
yeah, really cool boat. Seen thousands of pounds of fish. I mean, we've caught everything you can think of on that thing: mako, sharks, swordfish, sailfish. We've caught it all on there. Big wahoos. It's been a great, great boat.
It is
And
powered. You've got
yeah,
twin Mercs on the back of it, right?
yeah. So we've had this is my fifth set of motors since I bought it. I bought it with 250 Yamahas, went to 200 Suzuki's, and now I switched over to Mercury's and haven't gone back. I've had 200s, 225s, and now I have 150s because of COVID times. We couldn't get motors, so they had
Hmm.
150s, and actually the 150s push it great. Not winning any races, but the boat cruises at 30 miles an hour, no problem. Um, good on fuel and great, great charter boat. Great
Heck
charter
yeah,
boat.
heck yeah.
Mhm.
Now, something special about those conchs. Over the motors, you have a little, I don't even know what you call it, a platform or a
Yes,
shelf or
they call it a shroud. They call them a
shroud.
shroud. Yeah, yeah, shroud. It's basically a cutting board, and it was originally built over the four two-stroke motors to cover noise, to cover smell, all that stuff.
Hmm.
But now with four-stroke motors, it's grown on me, but it's a great cutting board. It's a great fillet station. Um, you know, great, when you're out on the sandbar with the family, you lay it out and it's a great buffet station as well. So we put the boat grill on there and grill out when we're hanging out. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's the original non-bracket. Motors are hung right on the transom, the way the boat was built for. Not a lot of times now they put a bracket on them. It sets the weight so far back that the boat doesn't ride the same.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, it's a great boat. I've been very, very lucky with it.
No, love it. And
Yeah.
it stays in the water most of the year, correct?
It does. It does. Yep. I have a slip. I'm bait fishing all the time. I'm leaving my marina before the forklift guys even get there. My marina has an in and out storage if I wanted to, but I I'm leaving the dock by 7. The marina doesn't even open till 8. When am I? I'm not going to wait. And I go. We catch our own bait. My mate and I catch our own bait, so we're out goggle eye fishing at 2, 3 in the morning a lot of times. Um, so yeah, we leave the boat in the water, pull it out about once a month, clean it, or go for a dip during the summer, and go snorkeling and clean the barnacles off and scrape the bottom, and we're back in business.
Hmm.
So the
Love it.
boat
Love
the
it.
boat stays ready to go.
Now we have talked about a lot of fish, talking about catching big muttons, which are absolutely delicious, mahi, which are one of the fastest growing fish in the world, and they are absolutely delicious. You could fry them, you could blacken them, you can make a sandwich, you can make tacos, you can make. We talked about tunas. You can make nachos out of those, poke bowls, uh, kingfish. You can smoke kingfish, make some great fish dip. You catch a lot of wahoo, which I have never eaten a wahoo, but I hear it's one of the best eating fish for sashimi, and their colors are incredible. But yet, every year you go fishing for a specific fish that's actually illegal to keep where I live in Brevard County. Now I live in Orange County, but where I fish in Brevard County. And I've never heard of anybody doing this except for you. So we're gonna do this one of these days. We should make an episode out of it, bro. But several years ago, and I'm purposely not saying what it is, and I will in a second. Several years ago, you posted a picture of all these fish fillets, and the tails were on the fish, and they looked like chicken legs with the tail. And you said, "What is this? Who knows what this fish is?" And I think I was too embarrassed to admit I didn't know. I think I texted you like, "Bro, I've seen a lot of fillets. I have no clue, no idea what that is." And it was a puffer fish.
100% Southern puffer.
Tell me
Yeah.
about that, bro. How did you get involved catching and eating and filleting puffer fish?
It's an original old Florida. Every known Florida boy you'll meet, original Florida boy, has eaten them for as long as you can get, and I've eaten my entire life. People are like, most people are transplants from somewhere else, but I grew up with OG Florida boys. And you go on a seawall with a bunch of cut shrimp and literally we use a cane pole, but like, an extendable cane pole, just like you're speck fishing. You fish a split shot, a little piece of shrimp, and you just bounce along the seawall, boom, catch puffer. Boom. It is about my wife. It's one of her favorite things to do. It is
That
a
is awesome.
blast. They're not big. They're about, anywhere from 6 to 10 inches long. But
Yeah.
you clean them, and people are like, "Oh, they're poisonous." But if you know how to clean them, they're not. So you basically just make a slit down each side and a slit down the middle. Take a fork and peel them inside out, and makes like basically a drumstick. And they are literally one of the best tasting fish you'll ever eat.
That's incredible. How do you like to cook them? You just deep fry them?
Just deep fry them. That's it. Yeah, you can either
Love.
deep fry the whole drum or you can fillet the little fillets off, and it creates like a little medallion of meat. And you just fry that up. And it is truly some of the best fish you'll ever eat. Think of a puffer. What's a puffer eat? Shrimp, oysters, crabs. He's on the
Yeah.
seawall eating all that. we catch them out in the ocean too. They'll get in the ocean on the seawalls when they're spawning in the beach, and you catch them out there. Um, to me, it's just a blast to catch. It's one of those fishing, just like going speck fishing out in a lake. You sit there with a cane pole, just you, and it's not. It's calm. It's brainless. You're not getting beat up. You just hang out there and you catch a bunch of toadfish. And my wife and I go do it all the time. We'll catch 40 or 50 of them and have a fish fry, and it's a blast. They're
Oh, I
truly
love,
fun.
and you eat the tails, right? They got to be great.
Yeah, the little
Crispy.
tails is just like eating a little fried mini, the little small fried catfish. It's the
Yeah.
same thing, little crispy tail on them. You just cheat, fried it. They're awesome. They're phenomenal. Trust
I
me,
love it, man.
I've gotten a lot of flack from a lot of people from that, but all the original Florida guys are like, oh yeah, they don't know. They don't
They're
know.
illegal to keep here in Brevard County. They are illegal to keep. So when
Yeah,
you
anywhere
posted it, I was,
Stewart North is illegal to keep now.
yeah,
It's
I was,
crazy.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Chris, if people want to go fishing with you, how do they find you?
You can follow me on Captain Chris Lemieux on Instagram. You can message me on there, or you can go to my website, LemeuixFishingCharters.com, and all my information's on there, phone number, everything. Just contact me. We'll get you on the books and get you out there. We'll even go toad fishing if you want to. Catch some southern puffers.
I love it,
Yeah.
dude. Hey,
Yeah.
listen, I am blessed to have a lot of really great fishy friends. And when I think of that list, Captain Chris Lemieux is at the top of that list, especially for offshore guys. If you are looking to go offshore, I'm not making it up. Go watch the episodes that we did with Chris. They were all unbelievable. Even on the days that Chris said we're going to struggle today, it was an absolute blast and we crushed them. He's a great dude. He's a great fisherman. And dude, I'm so thankful to call you friend. Captain Chris Lemeuix, Lemeuix Charters. I'm Captain Jonathan Moss. This is the Captain's Log Radio. Thanks for listening here on the Outdoor Radio Network. We will see you guys next week. Go catch some fish now.
Thanks for listening to the Captain's Log Radio with your host, Captain Jonathan Moss.